everybody, on this episode of the Timeless After Show. It is episode 16 of season 1, The Red Scare. It's season finale fun. Season finale time? I'm going to hop back in the lifeboat and redo this. Let's do it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah.
We're gonna jam for a little while, folks, before we get to the Timeless After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Everybody,
do electrifying.
it's electrifying. Look at that. Everybody, welcome to the season finale of the Ever After. What am I talking about here?
What show?
I feel like Gia right now. I'm seizing.
Oh, no.
Seeing infinite possibilities right now.
It's a low blow, buddy.
Yeah. Ooh, no.
No, the season finale of Timeless right here on AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie.
And I'm Alexis Torres. You can find me all over social media at atorres890.
Hey, sorry, I was jiving along. You know?
No,
That's right.
My name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane, Karidlane, and we are live in the chat, so feel free to chat with us.
Yes.
Whoop, whoop. And if you're watching it later, though, comment down below.
Okay, at Chris Howard Live. I'm Chris. At Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, there you go.
That's right. As Kari's mentioned about social media, you can like us on Facebook. You can give us those 5 stars on iTunes. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to power through the show
can.
today.
You can do it.
I'm just jumbling my words today.
It's okay.
And then you can also, just as Kari mentioned, you can hop in the chat and comment down below as well. Look at that, season finale time. 16 episodes have come and gone.
Wow.
I know.
Yes. So we're going to find out, did Timeless stick the landing for this season 1? We'll find out.
And did they wrap it well with this episode?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before we started watching the show, I threw out 3 predictions: a kiss, a death, and a betrayal. We all voted. We were thinking death and betrayal. We didn't really bet on the kiss. Nobody really felt like there was a kiss happening.
We also didn't specify who was going to be kissing at
Yeah.
this point.
Right.
I thought you were going for a Lucy Wyatt thing.
I was just saying the
which
kiss
actually
anywhere.
didn't happen.
I thought you meant between
Sorry,
us on
y'all.
the panel as we watched.
I was thinking about
Well,
Ethan Cahill
nobody
and
died,
Wyatt.
so...
That's what I was
Nobody
thinking.
died. I
There was
thought
no-
you didn't kiss me.
No,
No,
was
Frank
waiting.
didn't. No.
the show's not over yet.
Okay.
All right. So just wait. Just wait.
All right.
A big player though for this episode. Let's give a shout out to Ethan Cahill. Lisa's grandfather. Yes.
Ethan.
Talked about for several episodes, and now we finally get to meet the man, and he plays a key tipping point here for our team's plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. But of course, we start off. Does our team make it back to the present? I mean, we saw Rufus shot, passing out on the lifeboat. Were they going to get back in time?
Touch and go there.
Yeah. But he's able to make it back.
Man, he's got some emotional scenes, doesn't he, Malcolm, on this? Malcolm, if you're watching, you got this range of emotion you've been showing lately with the loving and the getting shot and all that stuff, didn't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
He was like, you get to see all this texture to this guy. Good job, brother.
Now, who do you get if you can't take your buddy to the hospital because Rittenhouse, a massive governmental conspiracy, could track you down? So what do? You find your fiancé that you really don't know that well.
And you really don't love.
You're the only person
Yes.
you know that's a doctor that you could just call.
Yes.
Like right now, how many people do you know be like, if you're dying, who you could call as a doctor? Oh, you know.
You know
Well,
some
there
people?
you go.
Oh, all right.
I have 2 uncles.
See, I know 2 people, but they're both on this
well,
panel. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I know an RN and my uncles.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
But still.
I mean, it sucks, but you would have to call them.
Can I call either one of you to call your friends if I
Yes.
get shot?
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate
Please.
that. All right. Just I'm not saying that anything's going to happen, guys. I'm just,
Is it just in case?
Yeah,
You never know.
That's right. Just putting my affairs in order. Of course, we do finally have. I think that I guess a conversation that we wanted to see finally come to a head, and that's between Noah and Lucy.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was interesting hearing Noah's perspective on that. That everything was fine, and then one day, all of a sudden, you were gone. My fiance, that I've known and loved, is
Oh,
gone,
it's
and
so
all of a
good
sudden,
to
this other
finally,
person was here.
Tell him.
What was he? Was he in 1 episode? Is that?
I think it's like 2.
Maybe 2.
I'm gonna say
Really?
3. I think he
Oh.
was 2. Like we got him in the first episode where he actually was introduced. Whereas the second time where they had the actual initial "I need a break," and then this one. So there's 3 of them.
Huh. Because, it took me a while to figure out who he was.
Someone in the chat, my super blog said, "Oh, do you think that the fiance is part of Rittenhouse?"
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either.
No,
I mean, at this point, you never know.
Yeah, but I feel like he would have given it up if he had known at that point, I think. Because
Yeah.
what's the point of not
I don't
tipping
think
your
he
hand?
is either, but it was a...
Yeah.
You never know.
You never
man.
know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But it's nice to finally have a conversation. It's one of those, like, no matter how crazy it is, at least you were like, So I time travel. Here's the thing. Okay, I've told you.
No,
Yeah.
it's true.
Done.
And you really understand that both points of view are completely valid because,
Yeah.
I mean, even though, I mean, Lucy's coming back into into a different time, so good old Noah's perspective is totally
Yeah.
valid from his point of view.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question? Just put it on pause. Don't answer it till later.
Oh, all right.
But but I mean, because if gosh, if I don't get it out of my head now, it will never get out of my head. But if there was somebody from Rittenhouse on the lifeboat, we know who it was, right? The person from Rittenhouse. They said at the end, and we'll come back to it. Does that mean that they know that Ethan was involved with everything because she was there in the lifeboat with Flynn? So just pause that question and we can come back to it at the appropriate time.
All right.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of scared by it.
Uh-oh. Look at his face, everybody.
I don't get scared often
Chris Howard's
from
face.
TV.
There's sheer terror right now,
Yeah.
running through that man's face. Look at that.
Okay.
All right, we will put a pin in that and come back to that in a little bit. Now we also find out that Agent Christopher, very handy. It felt like Gia was really in a crunch last episode. I mean, Rufus, I was asking quite a lot of her, and she was, good old Agent Jarvis was really putting the screws to her.
Agent Jarvis.
Yes.
Jarvis. and Wyatt was kind of really pushing the boundaries with her because normally she was in charge, and now Wyatt's like, "Hey, we don't work for the government anymore." So it's really pushed those boundaries there too.
But Agent Christopher quite easily, because I felt like that was like Agent Christopher was able to just get her out extracted from Mason Industries. So I'm like, oh, all right, that wasn't that big of a deal.
No,
So,
she
all
just
right.
went in and went out.
Yep, that's it. So Gia's there with him, and of course they realize that Flynn's jumped back to 1954, and of course, Rufus is in no shape to pilot it by himself. So I figure like, hey, we should have Gia do it as well.
And apparently he's well enough to travel at this moment where you're like, okay,
I guess
don't
you
die.
just can't. I guess you just can't actually like reach for buttons and stuff like that.
He just might pass out, you know.
Yeah.
You never
true.
know.
But that's why Gia came along.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. And I mean, Rufus does pose something that does come back to later in the episode is that will a fourth member aboard the lifeboat that's only designed to hold 3 people, what will that do? Nobody knows. Putting another organism through time travel.
Gives him pink eye.
Well, to say the least. But of course, Rittenhouse is outside, so they have to just hop on the lifeboat and take off and head back to 1954 DC. How'd you guys like 1954 DC?
We didn't see a whole lot.
Yeah, we actually didn't see
This
No.
was
much.
one of the time periods where we actually really didn't see that much.
I don't think we also had time, like in actual episode time,
Very true.
Yeah.
to do it, which is unfortunate. But
I
we
like-
got to see. I forgot.
'Cause
We saw McCarthy.
Yeah, that was
Joe
it.
McCarthy. Yeah.
I like how everybody called McCarthy on his shit. Like they didn't. They didn't.
I mean, that's kind of what he was, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
but
he
they
was an
didn't let him
extremist.
bully. They didn't let him bully him. Neither, what was it? Flynn and Wyatt both stood up to him. Said you're a bully. Or
Yeah. It's something that when you have the full reach of history
If
to be able to
you
look back.
know,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Much easier to stand up to somebody when you're
Yeah.
like, you know what the real scoop is.
Well, the only other time they did that is with Lucy and in the H.H. Holmes. H.S. Holmes? Yeah.
H.S.
Yeah.
Holmes.
Because then
that
she
the
was able
house?
to use, because then she was able to use their knowledge as a different way. But otherwise, they haven't really been able to. I mean, Flynn has done some stuff, but they
Yes.
haven't been like, I know all of your secrets, so stop messing with me.
Yeah. No. Correct.
So it was cool. I liked it.
I appreciate it.
And Flynn, he's already one step ahead of the team because Lucy suggests going to McCarthy, but Flynn's already there making some inroads. Wants to find out where this meeting is going to happen, and because I know we talked about last episode too. Like, sure, you can find out the year, but exactly what date? And Flynn clearly got that information, at least the general day or month. So I'm like, oh, okay, it was very easy. You just find out in 1954, 365 days.
That's true. We
You're
didn't
able
know
just
the
to-
day.
yep.
We talked about that.
We just, again,
Someone in the
had to skip it
chat, Melissa says, is no one else curious how Gia found them 1950s clothes?
I'm assuming that because we skipped over it, that they probably found a store and was able to go.
They just went in and
Bought something or stole some because it looked like they were on a farm, so maybe they were able to
Yeah.
like slip in and find clothes. I mean, I don't
I'm
know. I mean,
glad
they were a
they
little fancy.
addressed it though, because remember, like
We had that
other
whole thing
time, they
last
were
time.
like, "Yeah, we did it wrong," and so this
Yeah.
time it's like, "You guys should do something."
Yeah, no, smart.
That's all.
Yeah.
No,
And
you
I
don't
love
like
how
it.
and I love how she said it too, where she was like, not to sound like my mother right now, but is that what you're wearing? So it was really cute.
And something, I mean, I don't think I really noticed it, but Sarah in the chat asked, can we all just discuss how ridiculous it is that Rufus was completely fine like 10 minutes into the episode? She said, I mean, I'm happy, I just thought it was silly.
I mean, I get it at the same
I mean,
point,
with
but
Gia,
at the same
he's
time,
like,
yeah, it seemed like he was still kind of wincing,
Yeah.
but because he was with Gia, he probably wasn't thinking about the pain, you know, and also the
Yeah.
fact that he was kind of freaking out because Gia was also showing symptoms of stuff that he was like, I don't know what to do about it.
True though that a stomach wound is one of the worst you can possibly get.
I agree.
Yeah.
But they could have loaded him up with painkillers.
I mean, he could have given him a bunch of Vicodin or something like that, you know, so I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to leave it up to timeless science, and we're just going to leave it at that.
Science.
No, true. I mean, at least Noah did say when he was talking about the gunshot wound that, I mean, it had very less damage.
Thanks,
so
Eric Scott.
the injury was less catastrophic than it could have been. So
and I'm glad about that.
Yeah.
He did pass out. I mean,
I'm glad that we
the fact that he passed out in the beginning meant that shock got him, which is normal. It probably would have been really painful. But
Eric in the chat said he's a tough dude.
He's a tough dude.
That's right, man.
Yeah. And again, he's with his lady too. So
he can't look like a pussy.
No,
that's
not the point.
That's not the point.
It's the point that he was probably just the fact that he probably already had painkillers in
he
his
has
system.
something else to distract him.
Yes.
Okay.
There you
That's
go.
the point.
That's all right, Chris.
That's all right. I'll get there.
And if he was, it would just mean he's stronger.
That's true.
We do see, though, that Flynn doesn't waste any opportunity to throw Wyatt and Lucy under the bus, though.
No. How convenient he has 2 little headshot photos
That's
of
right.
them. Right here. I got them.
And convenient in black and white, too, as well.
I know. And it looked
there
kind
you
of faded. It was very interesting.
There you go. Flynn covered his bases there.
He went to Michael's, did it
Yeah,
like
what do you go,
crafting
like,
right away.
I was like, is there a Kinko's near you?
Yeah.
And
it's smart, though. That's a smart way
No,
to get him out of the way.
very smart.
And clearly very sure in himself that Capone was going to get the deal done because there's no picture of Rufus there. It's just Lucy and Wyatt. So,
Well, because
very
he probably
confident.
McCarthy,
thought
right? McCarthy?
that
He's too injured to.
Yeah.
Rufus probably was too injured to.
No, but I feel like Flynn thought that Capone got rid of Rufus.
Yeah,
so that's why
probably.
he's only showed him the 2 pictures. Like, because Flynn doesn't know that Rufus is still alive.
That's true.
it.
That's very true. Until he showed up. Well, showed up later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I was like, yeah, Capone's my boy. He's took care of this. No problem. Yes. But then speaking of Rufus, though, we do see him and Gia starts showing some symptoms of going through time. One, a little bloodshot eye.
The eyes roll back in the head.
Seizures.
Yes. Which we'd heard about the rigors of time travel early in the season. So you start thinking that this is certainly leading towards possible death for Gia.
Time travel sickness.
There you go. Yeah, it's like getting the bends.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, time travel bends.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like it.
Sure.
Okay, I can see the PSA for that.
You know, folks, if you're going to time travel, do it responsibly. All right?
Don't exceed the amount. It's kind of like when you're working at an amusement park. Please, tune a seat, okay? Can't try to fit your kid in the same seat on your lap.
Melissa in the chat and I do agree. We all laughed a bit. Wyatt saying that he's a spy, and it's like you trust a guy with the Eastern European accent, and you think, I'm the
That
spy.
was pretty funny.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, that
a
was
good
really
moment.
awesome.
But but you got that right up front. It's like, why is he trusting the guy with the Eastern European accent?
But we also get to see a moment there where now that Wyatt and Lucy have been arrested by McCarthy's men, and Lucy gets a chance to talk with Flynn, and Flynn says, "Hey, straight up, you know what? I'm going to be destroying Rittenhouse. I'm going to take care of your grandfather Ethan Cale. So that's probably not going to mean good news for you. I have no idea what's going to happen to you.
That sucks.
Yeah,
But-
the idea that's probably going to wipe you out of existence if I take care of this. So." I guess this is where we say goodbye. This is it. You're like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
And Lucy.
Is that what you call a sociopath? Where they just don't care about other people's.
No, I don't know if he doesn't care. He doesn't not
It's not
care.
that he doesn't care, right?
But
it's
I
just-
mean, he explains at the end. I mean, he's just
He's on-
his
he's got an
grief
agenda,
is just
yeah.
it just kind of made him do
He's
things.
just laser focused. He doesn't care. So, a little different.
I mean, he knows he's a monster. He does.
He's
on
not
a mission.
bad. He's
He's
like,
on a
I'm
mission.
sorry, I don't know what's going to happen to you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing that to try to get his wife and kid back, and
And speaking of that, we actually got to see his wife and kid in the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
was kind of cool. Again,
Nice
speaking to
little
your
moment.
top of like your
Humanizing.
topic of humanizing him.
Yep.
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and you really do get like, I mean, if your wife and kid were gone, it'd probably be husband and kid for you, but unless it's not right.
Yeah.
Spouse.
But if your spouse and your child were gone, would you go to those types of lengths to get them back?
I mean, not to the same extremes. as he
I wouldn't
did,
kill
but,
people.
Yeah, but I would try to find as much
Yeah.
information as I could.
Yeah.
If I had the chance, especially to time travel.
Maybe kill the people who are directly responsible.
Yes, like if I found out the people who killed my family.
Very
maybe.
directly though, like, and I need
Yeah.
confirmation.
Like I wouldn't go back to like, let's find their parents and
Yeah.
then maybe their grandparents and then kill the line. Like
Yeah, no.
it's too much.
Yeah.
well, you got to do it like the Chicago way. You know, doesn't Sean Connery say like, if they do this, you do that.
Yeah.
Or the biblical way, you got to wipe out every last man, woman,
Yeah.
and child, otherwise it can.
Yeah.
We do get to have Wyatt chatting with McCarthy, and Wyatt is like, whatever, dude. And I do like he throws a little ass whipping down on McCarthy's men.
So
That was
good.
great.
Yes.
Good scene.
That was such a good fight scene.
Yeah, I love
We'd
that.
love to see
Yeah, we're
more
like,
of that from
yes.
Wyatt, right? That's who.
Well, yeah, I feel like with any kind of not crime, but like action kind of packed TV show, I want to see more hand-to-hand combat in general, instead of just shooting people randomly.
Yeah.
You know.
And those cops are probably just not trained for that kind of hand-to-hand combat at all.
No, they weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
No, not
Just
at all.
since they only
They're
have
like
the tongs.
boxing. Like that's probably about the only kind of
fisticuffs.
fighting. Yeah. That's it.
Put up your fist. Put up your dudes.
Yeah.
But the fact that they only had nightsticks is like a pretty huge thing that you're trained now to be able to get out of that and use them to your defense. So it's great.
Yeah.
So they escape, and the idea is now they're going to try to find Lucy's grandfather, Ethan Gale. But as we're talking about humanizing Flynn, another topic that we've talked about too is the long con that Mason's been pulling. Yes.
I mean, it was the opposite, but
There
like
you go.
he was still playing a long game in that aspect, which I thought was funny.
Yes, we do get to see Mason, where just and it is very much at least from our
Very
perspective.
suspicious.
It is
Yeah,
suspicious.
I
It's
didn't
still
like it.
suspicious.
I didn't like
Well,
it.
actually, as soon as the last episode where he's like, I want to know everything in all the servers, I was like,
I mean, yeah, it
I was
like, it could go
suspicious
either
from
way.
then.
But do we believe his agenda right now
I
as it was
mean,
presented?
He helped them.
Yes.
Yeah.
He knows he's a bad person, but he can switch sides.
But do we still think he's got a longer play than even we're seeing now?
That'd be dumb. I feel like that. Well, not dumb. I think that would be too much. That'd be
Yeah,
playing. That, he
no.
would be so deep in the long game that he wouldn't even see that he actually got the results that he needed.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I think he made a choice to go against Rittenhouse at this moment, thinking
Right.
that he could eliminate him. But certainly Rittenhouse says many contingencies, as it appears by the end of the episode.
Right.
So,
So he's Team Mason,
well,
and he's helping Rufus.
yeah, I mean, at the very least, getting rid of Rittenhouse lets him be able to have a time machine and pursue his scientific endeavors without feeling like he's obligated
Yeah.
to anybody else. So he grabs.
So he gets rid of his
Christopher.
debt.
Well, or at least you get rid of the organization
Let's
that you
take
owe
out
debt
the
to.
bank.
Yeah. But yeah, he does say, like, this is the idea. Like, now that Rittenhouse has given me access to all their servers, I was able to use that to find information that's going to help us, and it finds everything you need to know to put away Benjamin Cahill, Lucy's father.
But
I
what-
like the moment, though, where Agent Christopher brings him in, and she's like, she said, swarmy?
Oh, swarm. Yeah. Yeah.
Smarmy?
Swarmy. I don't remember what
It
he.
was a
Yeah.
nice negative description, and he's like, well, thanks, that was lovely. That was lovely. We all were like, yes.
Now, was that the thing that because she gave all the information on, or he gave all the information on Benjamin Cahill, was that what prompted the idea to go out and
Smarmy.
tell Ethan to capture all the information?
No, because
No,
they were
'cause
they,
they were
they were in the
there.
present. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was so that occurred after Ethan, or did that occur before?
Independently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Independent.
like we're like back at if we were in one of those shows, we're like back at the White House or something like
Right.
silly like that. And it's smarmy, SMARMY. In I can't really say wheedling in a way that is perceived as insincere or excessive. So yeah,
Smarm.
to you, yeah. So just to
They should
use
just
unflattery.
write Mason.
Sure, yeah.
And I
I'll
know
be
we
okay
only
with
have
that.
16 episodes this season, and so you and with a show like that, there's a lot of story to get through. But I also
Sorry.
feel like
Yeah, I just read that.
I'm sorry. With Mason, go ahead.
Sorry, it was just too good. Ken from the chat said, would we have wanted essentially for Wyatt to take one for the team at the gay bar? It's like he should have gone to flirt, and no,
That would have been so
funny.
good.
Lucy's like, come on, Wyatt, take one
Yeah,
for the
take
team.
one for the team,
That would've
buddy.
been good.
That would have been,
I would have
What,
loved
with
that.
who?
Because it
With
goes
her,
so-
with her
with the-
grandfather?
yeah.
Yeah, well,
To get
just
information.
just to flirt to get information because they always do that for her.
Flirting, you can totally get people to talk to. That she has to do it all the time, exactly. And he has that moment. He's like, "Man, I feel like a piece of meat." And she's
I was
like,
like,
"Wow,
"Wow,
I wonder what that
it
feels like."
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
great.
So that
Kari
would've been-
Lane and I high fived. It
We're
was
like,
beautiful.
yes.
I
It
think
was
a
great.
love affair between Wyatt and Ethan would have complicated things.
No,
Well, it wasn't a love
yeah.
affair. It was flirting.
talking about flirting.
So as I was mentioning about Mason, though, I feel like him flip-flopping is, I mean, I guess good for the story, but I feel like it would have been nice to have at least one episode this season that may have focused a little bit more on Mason's backstory. Because I feel like him kind of bouncing back and forth, I don't really have any...
Kind of hit you out of no place.
I don't know, like, I don't feel like...
what?
like a sense of, like, where Mason's coming from. I mean, I know that...
Oh, it was a little out of nowhere. I feel he's just like shark survival mode. Whoever
Yeah.
he feels he should go with, he'll change.
Yeah. Would you rather
So-
have seen an episode this season that kind of focused a little bit more on Mason's backstory, or is like, nah, I'm fine with just what I've gotten
I
so
mean,
far?
I would like more.
Yeah, I mean, when season 2,
Yeah.
you know, crossing our fingers, I
Yep.
would like to see more of Mason's backstory in that, but I didn't need it this season.
Okay.
I didn't need it either. I didn't really care.
Yeah.
But
on
Thank you, Ken.
Fringe enough.
Yeah, he said in the chat. Ken said in the chat. Meanwhile, in the written cave, like that's what I was thinking of. Thank you. So yeah,
Yes, so we do see they go to the gay bar there, and they find surprisingly
That was awesome.
yes,
So funny.
because
following
like
his father.
there was a moment where they were walking in, and when Ethan was talking to somebody, it looked like that guy gave him an up down, and I was like, huh, that's strange. And I was about to turn to you and go, hey, was that seem a little flirty to you? And then
You
we
guys
started to
did.
notice,
You all
and I was
started
like,
to say something.
wait a minute.
You guys all started to say
talking
something, and then they
close.
had the line. They said, "Is it me or is Rittenhouse gayer than we thought?"
Yeah,
and
and
that
I was
was
like-
like when you guys all turned around.
It's very interesting
So
because
it's a gay bar.
Yeah, but I think it's also interesting because most in gay bars, women do go in there sometimes just so they don't have to feel.
There didn't seem to be any women
No,
there.
I saw 2 women back
But
there.
it was back in the 50s. So it
But
was,
no, I know,
yeah.
but like it was like in the very far back,
Yeah,
like in
oh,
the back of the
okay.
shadows.
Yeah.
Like there was a lady talking to another lady in
Yeah,
the
but
back.
nowadays women
Well,
go to
yeah.
gay bar
Nowadays,
all the
time.
time. But yeah, but I was assumed
That's
that
why
they're like,
I go.
But yeah, so I thought that was really cool that we were able to get that. It didn't have to be like excessive. It was just 2 guys talking. You're just like, what? And then
Yeah.
we just kind of moved on from there. We
And
didn't have to embellish.
It was
on
a
that.
good twist without being like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like too out of left field. It was
And they
like,
didn't have to
oh,
make
okay.
it like super obvious. Like we didn't have to see 2 men like making out.
Yeah.
Like we didn't need that. We just understood. Oh, clearly that there's something happening
Yeah.
just by looking at each other or their mannerisms or the way that their chemistry when they're talking. It was
Or,
nice.
or Wyatt's just like, so your grandfather. And he's
I
like
love it. It took him a
deep in
minute.
the closet.
Just I love how it kind of took him a minute. He was like, "So wait, so your grandfather's oh," and I was like, "Wow, Wyatt, really?"
But you know what's kind of weird is that
There's people like that.
they could
Oh,
they
yeah.
could get him on their side to collect information and stuff, but that doesn't really do the best service to the father who gets kind of caught in between. If the grandfather becomes a spy for then the father just gets indoctrinated in the Rittenhouse doctrine, and there's no chance to save his soul.
The father could have approached how he raised him differently, though.
It's possible, yeah.
And also, it's one of those, if you know your child's gonna turn out to be not so good, you can like try to steer it differently.
Right. Yeah. Huh.
You can try,
knows,
and who knows?
Obviously, it
Yeah,
didn't
we don't
seem
know
like
what happened.
anything
It didn't
changed
say
with
anything.
her father's
Right.
timeline.
As far as we know, yeah. I mean,
We
because we didn't really get a chance other than
No.
seeing him at the end of the episode kind of get
Kind of
taken
you're told,
away. That
you're,
was
you're,
it.
you're the parent to the Antichrist. Okay, he can be the
Yeah.
Antichrist, and I'll collect the information.
But I did like the episode, the scene there where we get to have Lucy, Wyatt, and her grandfather Ethan on the drive.
Yeah.
Just that conversation,
So
and
they're
where we
meeting.
yes,
Yes.
where Ethan's kind of telling a little bit about the backstory about how he first heard about Rittenhouse. Then he got his father found him when he was 18 with the guy, and then he got beat, and then he got imagine just getting beat to an inch of your life, and then told about Rittenhouse, and then him saying, "I'd rather would have been keep getting beaten than but then find out what this terrible organization was doing."
Never mind. Sorry. I was reading the chat because they were talking about being gay. It was very heart wrenching. I'm assuming you guys are talking about his actual speech in the car of how he had to
Hide it?
lie
That
and
was
hide.
sad,
That was
yeah.
really hard to watch, especially as a person who is bisexual and I have to hide it from my mom. My mom doesn't watch these, but hey, Dad. But yeah, so like the same thing of how he's like, oh, it's a bad habit, it's a sickness, it's this and this and this, and it's like, oh, people
Or
still.
did
I
shock
tried
therapy.
electric shock.
Yeah.
And that was the 50s, right? That's
Yeah, I mean, that
But
kind of
go
still happens
Lucy
now,
and
but,
Wyatt going, there's nothing wrong with you.
It was very
You're okay.
refreshing because
Yes.
they could have just pretended like like okay, and then we could have like moved on
Ignored
from
it,
there.
yeah.
But I love that they were like, "There's nothing wrong with you. It's totally fine." It was lovely.
Oh, actually, side note too, referring to Lucy's father and grandfather into father, Ken says, well, kids will rebel against their parents all the time. So there you go.
No matter
We
what
don't
role
care
he's
about
playing,
Lucy's
we
dad
don't
at
know
this
where it
point.
goes.
Yeah, the grandfather could have tried to the best for his child.
No,
His
it's-
child could.
There's no
Yeah.
guarantee about anything when
And
you're
he
raising a
didn't,
child.
he didn't raise Lucy, so it's not like she has any connection besides you were the sperm that helped make me. Like that's her relationship to her father at this point.
No, very true.
So she doesn't care.
Yeah. So yeah, they do have a nice little chat with Ethan Gale, and they take him to where the Rittenhouse meeting is going to happen. And like Lucy and Wyatt, they go to the meeting place to figure out that Flynn would probably be underneath, setting up something underneath there. It turns out he's bombing the whole place once they kind of crash the whole building down. and Wyatt gets a drop on Flynn. Finally, the first time Wyatt gets a drop on Flynn for this whole season, and then Lucy steps in the way.
But she has a good plan. That's when
This
she
is
has the
finally,
plan.
yeah, Lucy, just like all of a sudden she gets some spark of inspiration, figures out what to do. And I do like her speech, her and Flynn's conversation about where we're getting too wrapped up in our grief and worrying about the past when we should be focusing on with the
That was
present.
very smart. Like you would have thought that by now they would have done some long-term something. Actually, the only time I think they ever did that, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat room and discussions later, was when Wyatt tried to do the telegram. Have they done to his wife?
Really?
Yeah.
Was there any other time where they were like, let's do
No.
something now
No.
for the future?
Just that one.
Just to
Come on,
save
you
the
have,
ship when they
like-
planted the ship information
Yeah.
underground that one time.
It's almost like they should have started bank accounts for themselves. That
Oh yeah.
That's
like
right.
there's all
I
these
didn't
things
think
they
about
could have done, and like you can step away and come back, and you would have.
Yeah.
I'm
something.
surprised Flynn went with the plan though, because it didn't automatically save his wife.
No,
It
he's
took down
already.
Rittenhouse. He still has to go back for his wife. Whereas if he took out all of Rittenhouse, he may not have to do that.
I mean,
Per the end of the
Maybe.
episode, I think he's let go.
Yeah, I mean, I love the episode. I like the way it
Yeah,
went, but it's just.
I think he's let
Yeah.
go about that.
yeah, I don't know, man.
Well, I don't know if he's let go about it. I think he figured out, like, all right, I can get that info and go back and stop
Oh.
them.
Yeah, he was
Yes.
still planning
Yeah.
on stopping it.
yeah.
But I feel like that Lucy got that inspiration after that nice conversation and meeting her grandfather and finding out what kind of man that he was. Figured like this may be a way for us to finally take advantage of the fact that we're with a family member in the past that is still alive in the future.
Yeah.
Oh, and like how he's like, you look like my mom.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, it was adorable.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he didn't have a hard time believing the time machine thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he also had proof though. 'Cause
Right.
He got to see this thing disappear in front of his eyes.
That's true.
That's
I
not
love
like
that scene though
in
because
the
just like
pictures.
the smile on his face as it gets as it starts going as it starts activating and then disappears. It's just
That's
man, it's
neat.
like somebody when seeing like your world just got suddenly a little bit bigger. You're like,
Yeah,
whoa, this is so
that's
cool. So yeah, Lucy says, all right, Wyatt, Rufus, and Gia, you got to get Gia back to the present because
Yep.
she's not doing well. So you guys go here. I got to stay here, make sure that my grandfather sees this in action, and then I'll go back with Flynn to the present in the mothership.
Yep.
And then we get a nice little like a little tender goodbye for the moment between Wyatt and Lucy.
It's
There
just
you
the
go.
tea. It's just poking and prodding.
Just poking.
And the girls were so hoping they'd kiss. They
I'm
were
all,
like,
maybe.
Maybe
Sitting
is
at
it
the
happening?
edges.
Is it happening? No.
I wasn't really hoping. I just was like, is this happening? No.
Yeah,
Maybe?
it was just kind of like. No.
I felt Wyatt was totally like, okay, Lucy, I'm really into you
Even
right
like
now.
later in the episode
But
too.
Lucy was just like, okay, that's nice. Like it just.
I didn't get that. I thought
I
she
felt
was.
he was like 70 to her 30.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat.
Like she cares about him, but he felt more like, I don't want to leave just yet. And she's
Well-
like, why? Why don't you want to leave yet? Like,
Yeah.
She seemed like clueless.
But it was
about
unexpected because she still thought he was really in love with
She's still been really,
Yeah, you're right.
friendly with him
You're right.
too. So I don't.
It was a good
But
moment.
she threw that line of like, sorry we couldn't save your wife, and I'm like, oh, you killed the moment.
and I was like, yeah, there it goes.
Good tension. Frank's hand was moving closer to mine.
That blockade
Was-
just went
Yeah.
right up, just right up.
And then we cut immediately back to the present after Lucy tells her grandfather, "You got to play
Oh, that
double
was such
agent."
a sweet moment
Yes.
too.
They come back to the present day, and it's cool when you see somebody that, like, from their perspective, it's been 60 years, but for you, it's just been maybe a matter of hours.
And,
Yes.
Gary and I were talking about the transition of how you saw his
Oh,
face,
that
and
was
then
good
it
edit.
transitioned into his, his present, and it was really cool to see him be like, "Oh my God, you haven't aged today," and it's like, well, yeah, she was just there yesterday, so yeah. But it was really nice, and the fact that he's like, I've been waiting this entire time, and I didn't know what to expect when he brought out the
Yeah.
clock, because in my head I was thinking, is it the same clock from that other episode where Flynn found the clock and he found that piece of paper?
Right.
But
Right.
it wasn't. I don't think.
I don't think so
And then we just got an address and a combination or some sort of or
I thought
date.
it was a date.
Yeah, I couldn't
It
tell.
was
It was hard for me to
like
read
a
it.
European date. Like they went the other way.
So it was
they
date,
didn't
month, and year.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was it? It was a combination to get into that storage unit.
No, the last
I
number.
thought
It must have been a
it was a
combination. 'Cause the
house.
last number
Yeah.
was 36.
So what was the first number?
I just saw the three numbers, and the last one was 36.
Could have
So
been 1936.
No, I think it was 3 dates, 3 numbers, 3 sets of numbers. So I think
I mean,
it was
Is it
a
probably-
combination.
I want to know what everybody in the chat thinks, but
I thought it was
they
a date.
found they found some sort of house or something like that because it looked like it was pretty. It had
It
windows.
was an address.
You know,
Is an address? I think it had a combination for a lock, something
Yeah.
to get in.
Maybe-
Because if it was
maybe
a
it had
date,
like maybe it's a padlock or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. What if that's the house where all the information was stored
that's what we
that
think.
they went
Yeah,
to?
that's what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
I don't feel they made that obvious then.
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, because you don't need a date for someplace you're going because you're not traveling in
That's
time.
true.
You're in the present
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
I felt like he could have
I
wrote
mean-
that down for her right now. That's what I meant of like it made it sound like
and also
I
they
wrote
changed-
this info like 30 years
And
ago.
they also changed clothes too, so it looked a little weird. Like she was wearing different types of clothes too.
Yes.
So we were like, wait a minute, what year
Okay.
are we in? It was a lot of jumping around, which was
yeah.
which was really confusing. So I understand where you were coming from because I definitely
Yeah.
thought we jumped back.
Yeah, I was like, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Oh, it felt so weird. Yeah, that edit was a little bad because when she walks in,
Because she's still
even when she walks in to meet the grandfather, it felt a little like, wait,
yeah.
what?
We're in the present now.
Yeah, like I didn't need a full scene of like we're time traveling right now, but it felt a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
we all
whoa.
felt a little jarred, like, what just happened?
Yeah.
But it worked.
I was
It
fine with that
worked.
cut. I was fine with that cut because I figure like that's just a nice boom. We're back in the
Casket
present.
fan commented on Lucy's hair porn when she came back to 2017. She did have her curls. Most of it I
Oh, it was
liked,
working. Yeah,
but
she
when
was-
she saw her mom, there was like a weird poof.
I
Yeah,
liked it.
I don't know what was. It was at the end of the night. That I don't know.
Yeah,
What
that's
was
what
going
I
on.
kind of
Yeah.
thought. Like it's been a long day.
It's been a long day. Her hair's just not not following what's happening. But it looks like it was in a dress.
And
So-
kind of rewinding a little bit, a lot of people are talking about in the chat, and what do you guys think too? Of apparently a lot of people weren't really shipping any relationships until like this episode.
Makes
like
sense.
the tension in the end, they go, wasn't thinking it till now.
Especially because the way that Wyatt was looking at her too at the
Yeah.
very end. As soon as she
Yeah.
walked away, he kind of looked longing, and I was like, "Oh, there it is."
Yeah, there was
We
no
got
question
it.
from Wyatt's part.
Yeah,
That was
I think
clear.
it's Lucy's that we're kind of like, we don't know.
Yeah, but again, it's I don't know. I don't feel the need for the show, and the show is kind of acknowledging that kind of chemistry between the two.
But it might start up now from
Who
here.
cares?
But
I
I don't need it though. I still,
either.
regardless, I don't need the.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
fine.
either way, I think the story will still go on, and it will still be very good whether we get a relationship or not. And we also
Yeah.
have Gia and Rufus.
That's enough.
So, and we already know that their relationship is going to change quite a bit now
That's true.
after what happened today. So.
Yeah, I do like as Lucy's talking to her grandfather, and he's even said later many times that I wanted to run, but it wasn't until I found out that my son was having a daughter and her name was Lucy that I was like, all right. Because I guess it's one thing to see
Yeah.
a time machine, but also to figure that's 60 years, and who knows if everything you feel is going to come to pass.
And you start to question your own memories too. After a while, it's like, was that? Did that really happen? Was it a dream? Was it a
Yeah, so once you find out you're having a granddaughter named Lucy, then it's like, all right, I guess I can stick this out.
Yeah.
So we do find out though that the address and everything he gives him as like a treasure trove. He's built an entire case against Rittenhouse throughout the years.
Woof.
Yes,
So
but then-
useful.
And then conveniently, there comes Agent Christopher and Mason right in. Hey, we're here too.
I do want to address somebody in the chat, and just in case anybody else was confused, he was doing this secretly because someone's like, "Wow, Rittenhouse keeping him around even though he's
No,
getting
he was
information."
totally
I'm like,
doing this
No,
behind
this
closed
was on the
doors.
DL, which is what she said to him
Yeah.
too. She's like, "You have to lead a double life," which I'm
But
like,
she was
"Well,
already-
sadly, he's used to."
Yeah, he's already doing that. So
Yeah.
it's just
Oh,
another
that's
thing
interesting.
on top of it.
Yeah, I didn't even make that connection.
Yep.
Yep.
And we find out though that everybody's kind of like, "What's Mason doing here?" But Agent Christopher
Yep.
kind of vouches for him, and he says, "All right, we've got a lot of information here. It's going to take years to authenticate all this stuff." But Mason says, "You use my cool new software. I can find out. I can authenticate this in a much more rapid fashion. So much so that we can just cut to the next scene where Agent Christopher is coming back to Mason Industries and arresting everybody there in the NSA. Like, all right, you guys are out. We're back in.
There you go.
Man, look at that.
Until the next season.
And then we do find out that, we get our scene there with Lucy and Flynn, where she gives him the information about who ordered the hit and the men that were responsible for killing.
That was way too out in public.
It was like, that was like,
Super out in public.
Come
Which I
on.
mean, if she worried for her safety, I get it, but I don't think I would have been so openly in public.
but if I feel so bad for Flynn though, because that was like a moment where
Oh
we finally
my gosh!
like, he got to
and
breathe.
He trusted her.
Yeah,
Right.
trusted her, and he's like, okay, this is
Yeah.
it. The end,
She said, "I'm
the goal's
sorry"
in sight.
a lot this
But
episode.
he didn't know. I mean, it had nothing to do with Lucy,
No,
but
Well-
he got screwed, and he doesn't know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Agent Christopher says he's a terrorist. We gotta take him away. But he's gonna be tried in a private military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. We should talk about the Gia thing because that's a big thing.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
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 I was like, that's one that everybody's talking a lot.
Oh,
like,
no,
wait
yes.
a minute.
So we do get Rufus and Gia, and Gia starts having some seizures, and all of a sudden starts seeing flashes of an alternate future or something, which she sees
like
the
everything
bridge.
crumbling.
It was
and
being
wreckage.
built. Some people are saying it's being built. Other people think it's the future.
No, I
being
think it's
destroyed.
totally the future. At least
Okay.
for my prediction, I think that it's the future.
I didn't see it as either of those. I just saw kind of coming into reality, coming out of reality, but
But where was
Yeah,
she
where
when
was
she
she
was
be
in
going?
reality?
like gone.
Like
I
she was
just
dead.
No, just like she was losing. It's kind of like where you lose sanity. You know when that happens.
Totally.
she's-
No, just
Happens to me
glitches.
every Tuesday.
Just glitches.
And it seemed more in ruins than something like that was in
Really?
construction.
Really?
For
I
me.
didn't see it that way, but
I felt like
I
she
get
was
what you're
seeing
saying.
some kind of possible future, maybe, or some sort of alternate
So
timeline.
the question is, can she jump without the lifeboat?
I
Can
don't
she
know.
control time? I don't think she can control time. I feel she
I
can
don't
just
think she
jump
can
without
go-
the lifeboat.
No. I don't think that
Or
she
in
can.
her head?
Well, no, I don't think that she can. I mean, kind of, yeah, like how you're
Or
saying.
see it?
Yes, I think that she's more of a like a Professor
Like a
Xavier to
seer?
a point where she can see
Oh.
stuff, but she can't physically. I mean, not to
Go.
the extent
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like she can't physically go there. She could just see it. So she's more of like a. I don't know what the word is because there's a superhero that
Clairvoyant?
I'm thinking of and I can't. It's not coming to me
You
at the
thinking of one
moment.
of X-Men or something?
Not X-Men, just in general.
A few people are chiming in. Golden Books and Cassie Fan are like, no, it's in the past. It's being built.
Okay, I mean, if it's being built, then it's
Maybe
being
she's
built.
kind of
you know?
anchored to the past in some way.
Matt Lautner said in the Facebook Live tonight that that she saw it was being built.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So then maybe she's jumping from past to present.
Thank you,
I guess.
chat room.
But she's kind of anchored in the past and it's pulling her back or something.
Maybe I have
Mm-hmm.
no idea. I mean, I don't know when the
bridge
Golden
was
Gate was
built,
built.
yeah.
So if it wasn't
Thank you, guys.
54, maybe she's still stuck there. I have no idea.
No, it wasn't. It was much earlier than 54.
Okay, that's
but
what I thought.
But it could
but
just be.
the idea is, I guess,
Yes.
an arc for a second season could be understanding what these abilities are and
Yeah.
how she can control them to some
It
extent.
could just be a temporal anchor that's pulling her back, and they've got to figure
Yes.
out how to keep her in the present.
Yeah.
or-
And then
Right.
the hacking system is amazing.
Oh yeah.
And
That
the
was-
Russia joke was really good.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
We were like, ha!
Yeah, we were like nudge.
Good job, Timeless Riders.
Adorable.
Good job.
I love it.
And we do see that Flynn's got certainly has more story to him because he gives Lucy back the journal and says, you gave it to me when you were older. You aged surprisingly well. So at
from
some
the
point, and
future?
again, yes.
So I
Yeah.
have things for news and gossip to talk about in
Oh.
a second.
Fantastic.
Yes.
To talk about that and a few other things as well when we
yeah.
get to it.
Yeah.
Some a few people are saying it was the 30s. Thank you. The
Yeah,
San
so it's in
Francisco.
1934, and I was
Yep,
like, all right,
thank
cool.
you.
So I don't know. Yeah, maybe she could just go back in the past in her head wise, and she's just seeing
Mm-hmm.
stuff happening.
So is Flynn from the future?
No, I
No.
think he's from present. He's been to
He
the
met
future.
future.
He's
Lucy.
been to the future. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which will, like I said, I'll get into
All
in a
right.
second.
Because
What's your
if you have a
gossip?
time machine, you're not going to.
Well, no,
go to the
I know
future.
you wanted to
Oh,
finish.
just the last thing here. We do get finally Lucy and White have their mission. They're going to go back and fix it time so that Amy does come back into existence. But before she goes, she does pay a visit to her mom and spill
like
the
that was a
beans
dumb
on
idea.
everything. And then her mom says, "Guess what? I'm also Rittenhouse as well. Do you think they'd let you go and take the lifeboat and make me sick again and bring back this person that nobody knows exists except you?"
I
became
called it
so
as soon as she
cold.
walked to her mom to hug her. I'm like, her mom's Rittenhouse.
I was just thinking that her mom just knew what was going on, but I didn't think she was in Rittenhouse. I thought maybe Rittenhouse was like having her in their grasp and being like, I have to force you to tell her this.
I
But-
just thought it's creepy that they're like, we're so proud of you, everything you've been doing. I'm like, oh crap. So is everything they've been doing playing into Rittenhouse
We
hands?
don't
Then you're like,
know.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
if Flynn has
she
been
was-
to the future, I feel like Rittenhouse can
Yeah.
probably do the same.
well, I hope now Lucy doesn't care about her mom at all because she went from like, I
that's
love
gonna be
you, mom,
harsh.
to
Yeah.
no, but like she was cold.
Oh yeah, especially
You're
about
like,
her sister.
"Ooh."
But I mean, you never know.
Breaks.
Maybe it was different because she wasn't sick, so they weren't able to in the past because she wasn't. They weren't able to use her, so like, oh, forget it, we won't have her in Rittenhouse. But now because she's healthy, because they changed time, they're like, ooh,
Would-
time to recruit her.
Think about this though too,
Maybe.
because
Yeah.
everything they did was to stop Garcia Flynn, and Garcia Flynn's whole mission was to stop Rittenhouse and destroy Rittenhouse. So big picture, they've been doing the work of Rittenhouse.
Yeah, I feel like they did, except for I don't know how they felt about killing major players in their team, but I guess maybe the Rittenhouse is just bigger than what we thought. It doesn't really
Right.
matter if they've killed all these people.
No, and I think it's easier
Clearly.
for Lucy to be colder towards a father she really doesn't know against a mother that's raised her entire life,
But I
even though
also-
she's kind of turned and flipped that being
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rittenhouse.
and also the
version.
fact that like her dad is much nicer to her, and then vice versa.
That's
her
true.
mom's always been kind of scolding her, especially since she's been healthy. Like I think it's insane. So I feel like maybe the sickness maybe humbled her,
Yeah.
and then that's just what happened.
We do find out though that
Yeah.
Rittenhouse has got plans upon plans, and that they have a mole
Plans
inside
on
the
plans on plans.
mothership, and we find out that it's Emma, which makes me kind of wonder because if Emma was indeed a mole, I guess she is for Rittenhouse, but why she had plenty of time alone with Garcia Flynn that she could have taken him out and got the mothership.
Again,
why is it
maybe-
not
and
until
Why
this
hang
moment?
out in the 1800s like she did?
No,
for
because
so
then
long,
what
too?
Chris Howard said, maybe they've been planning this the entire time. Because
Oh.
they've been to the future and just know about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
So wait.
Well, what I was wondering was, does that mean if she's there and
Yeah.
Flynn set up with Lucy the whole idea that Ethan
Yes.
was going to be collecting this information and stuff, does that mean that she knows about it and hence
Oh, I
Rittenhouse
don't think
knows
so.
about it?
I don't think so, because if that was the fact, they would have killed him by now, or gotten,
You would-
or knew about the information. Because
Yeah,
why
you'd
would they
think
let him
so.
live?
Yeah, I don't think
So
that.
she was never part of the plan. She wasn't let in on that
No,
information.
no. I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely have
Because
some
it
questions about
mainly
Emma.
felt like
Yeah, me too.
Lucy having a conversation with him
Maybe she was also playing
privately.
the long game.
You know,
That's true.
Right.
I
Yeah,
felt like
so-
it was just Lucy and her grandfather talked about the plan, really.
Yeah.
And
Because
Flynn was part
oh,
of it.
and
though.
Wyatt
Flynn
was
had-
there.
had
Yeah,
Yeah,
Flynn.
Wyatt was
so
there, and
not the other.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
way.
So need to know only.
Yeah.
But things you need to know right now are something that Alexis is going to tell us right now in the news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV
I
News.
know we're running short on time, but Charmed Original at Charmed One Forever sent me a great article with an interview from the two creators of the show, Kripke and Sean Ryan. They did an interview and they talked about a little bit about what they want to do with season 2 and why they ended the episode the way it was. So to talk about Lucy's mother, they asked. It was from an article from TV Line. It says, "Has Lucy's mother always been part of Rittenhouse, or was she just a member in the timeline where she was healthy?" This is what we're just talking about. Sean Ryan said she's always been part of Rittenhouse. This is something Eric Kripke and I had talked about even as we were making the pilot. Before we even had writers on staff, we felt that Lucy's mother was Rittenhouse. We just debated on how and when to reveal it. She's someone who's in both timelines has always been a secret and an important member of Rittenhouse. So she could be top dog. But I feel like to add that because she was sick, we didn't have that information. So we were probably just like, oh man,
And so
she
then
can't talk about it.
the historian thing was with purpose then
No,
too.
correct.
Yeah.
And that's probably why. So you were right about that, Chris Howard. So next was the last two questions in the entire interview was with Flynn feeling betrayed by Lucy after his arrest. What would a hypothetical season 2 look like in terms of him and the Time Team? Would they be on opposing sides again or fighting each other? The reason we ended Flynn in that position was because we wanted to just continue and deepen and escalate the same relationships we've been playing with this entire time, just to take them on a whole new level. Flynn, when we find him in season 2, I don't know 100% yet, but you can probably bet that he's going to be in some kind of incarceration. Sorry, I thought it said incarnation. I was like, what? He's going to be really effing pissed at Lucy, which I think we
Yes.
can all agree on. And yet he is going to be one of the few people suited to be able to fight whatever threats they face in season 2. So it'll be uneasy and uncertain. We'll see. And the last question they asked was, Flynn says to Lucy about how he got the journal from her. "You aged so well. So has he been to the future?" Ryan said, "I would argue that comment does not mean that he's been in the future. It could mean that a future Lucy has been to the past."
Oh, that's pretty
That's
cool.
what we were saying.
Kripke was saying, "Perhaps in some version of an advanced machine that allows you to travel on your own timeline, there's nothing saying that there can't be an innovation in the future that allows that to happen."
Ah, interesting.
I think that's also interesting because, I mean, as a person who loves anything that has to do with time travel, I think it would be cool that you can actually just travel to the past whenever you want, but you can't change it. So maybe she was just writing down notes or something.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Thank you very much, Alexis. Look at
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
And
Thank
Charmed
you, Charmed
Original.
Original. Thank you for
Yes.
that. That was really awesome. So again, it looks like clearly the team doesn't know what they're going to do about season 2 if we're getting a season 2, but they already have plans.
Good.
Technically, what's going to happen for
that's-
season 2.
Well, you got to kind of push that vision forward and let's.
Well, that makes a better show when they have
A plan.
where they are, where they're going, and their plan. Because too many other shows are like, "Oh, we got a new episode," and like.
And I was reading another
Yeah.
article with Sean Ryan and Eric Kripke where they've been in similar positions with other shows that have only lasted a
Yeah.
season. And they say that where they feel, while Timeless right now, they feel more confident than other series that have only
good.
gotten one season.
Yeah.
So
Good.
they feel more confident. I mean, certain things for sure until May when the upfronts were revealed, but they feel pretty confident that they can get a second season out of this, which would be great.
Yeah?
Ladies and gentlemen, look at that. Time flies.
Oh, when you're having
Having
fun.
fun.
That's right. And when you're bringing down the Timeless After Show. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the season finale of Timeless, but we will be keeping everybody apprised. We'll be tweeting any updates that we find out about any season 2 information, about any renewals, teases, spoilers, any ideas, hints about potential storylines.
Heck yeah.
We'll share them with you. That's our job as the time travel
what we
after
do.
show team.
It's who we are.
There we go. But in the meantime, folks, like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, give us, and put your comments in, because Kari Lane likes to get a hot cup of tea and read those comments late at night. That's right. But in the meantime, folks, you want to continue the conversation with us on Twitter? Chris Howard, where can they find you?
At Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram. Reach out.
And you guys can reach out to me at Kari D Lane, KARIDLANE.
Tell the folks at home, since we're obviously not going to be all together.
Oh yes,
anytime
other
soon.
shows.
Yes.
Do you want to?
Oh, I'll tell other shows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
do
actually, I have Shark Tank tonight. I'm doing it at 10 o'clock. Yay! Then we have The Partner that's coming up. So a brand new show with Marcus Lemonis. It's a business show, and I'm excited about that. That's going to be starting shortly. On the 28th of this month, we're also starting The Voice. So really excited about the new season of The Voice.
All right, so then my other shows. Wednesday is The Magicians, Thursday The Expanse, Sunday Emerald City with Frank, as well as Box Office Breakdown if you're not tired of us. And starting soon is Time After Time, so if you like time travel stuff, that will be another time travel show.
Hey.
And it hasn't been locked down yet, but Handmaid's Tale is also the end of this month as well.
And I'm Alexis Torres. You can find me where all shenanigans will ensue at atorres890. I'm doing a bunch of shows this year, about 8 shows altogether, but some of them are ending. So Voltron is ending in 2 weeks. Timeless obviously ended today. Lethal Weapon on Wednesdays is also ending, but I also have The 100 that just started. Into the Badlands starts next month. Sense8 also starts in 3 months, and it's going to be all good stuff.
Woo!
So definitely keep up with me so you can see what's happening.
And I'm Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. And Emerald City Box Office Breakdown in my corner in the fetal position crying. I Facebook Live that, so follow me on that as well too. Until next season, folks, we will be back here. I feel confident. Season 2 of Timeless is happening.
Renew
and we'll be
Timeless!
sharing it with you.
Yes.
See you soon, folks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.